So the difference between AI implementation and AI adoption is that implementation really looks at the deployment of a software, so it's the technical bit, whereas adoption looks at the human aspect. So it's really about whether the cultural shift has occurred within companies so that workers use AI in the most effective way possible. And nowadays, most of the companies are stuck at level implementation. And this is also why we do see a lot of statistics, including last year a large MIT study that shows that a lot of companies have deployed AI, but the returns are not to be seen. And this is because companies are not really thinking about adoption. So the reason why most employees do not really adopt and embed as a consequence AI tools in their workdays is basic fear. But it is a fear that is quite specific in the sense that it is also associated to your professional identity. It is not just the fear of being replaced, it is the fear of being replaced by a machine, which hurts your professional identity much more than if you were to be replaced by a fellow human. And I often hear people saying that AI and the advent of AI is amazing because we will have AI do the grunt job and humans do the creative job. Well, let me ask the first question, which is how many humans throughout history with a big H have truly been creative? So I think that there is a bit of a fallacy to think that AI can only do the grunt job. And that fallacy itself indicates that ultimately we do fear AI. There is a slight aside that I will make here. There is a book God by Isaac Asimov. And in one of the novels, he talks about a little robot. And he wants the robot basically to become as good as he is at writing. And so the robot gets better and better and better, up to the day when he is actually better than the author himself. And at that day, the author decides that actually he should break down the robot because he is simply jealous. And I do wonder if to an extent, even when we use AI, we are not using it in a limited capacity in order to be able to continue to show our supremacy, our cognitive supremacy over AI. Companies are absolutely overestimating how fast people can adopt AI. Because, as I said at the beginning, adoption is a cultural shift. It is not something where we are just implementing systems and systems go live. It is also the humans to go live. And whenever humans are involved, you need some incremental shifts, you need steps, you need some back and forth, and that takes time. And also what you shouldn't do is to put speed ahead of stability. You need for the system, for the organizational system, to still be stable enough in order to really be able not just to implement AI, but also to adopt AI. And what does adoption look like? Well, first, companies need to start with motivating their staff. So it is about really making people want to use AI because it has a personal, not just company benefit. The second aspect is around proficiency. Proficiency is not exposure. So the fact that you've been exposed to AI doesn't mean that you're proficient in AI. And that requires much more than just some trainings here and there. It is really about training over time your employees into judgment, into critical thinking. And finally, it is about ethics. It is about how to ensure that you have the guardrails in place so that humans, employees, do feel safe using AI, whilst also always having a look into the future.